Hi, Elle. Okay, I am going to take a look at your resume and see if I can help you figure out what's going wrong for you as we have chatted about. Thank you for taking out most of your identifying info. There was one little part that I couldn't take out, so I put a black box up in this area, so you shouldn't be able to see your name there. I'm not sure why, because I saved it differently, but it's still showing up. It's a PDF thing, I guess. So, going to it here. Yeah, this is all totally fine. Key competencies at the very top. That's what I call this, the two-word skills list. We'll get back to that. May or may not need it. Relevant professional experience, local nonprofit program manager. All right. And May 2019, so a couple of years in that. I look at that, but it's not necessarily that this is a big red flag or anything. If there's like only a year or less than a year, that kind of went the way of COVID. After COVID, it's no longer a thing that recruiters look at much. However, it can sometimes give me ideas of certain problems. So like that combined with other things gives me hints. Just like I pointed out to you in that post. I saw some potential things going wrong. That's one of them. Anyway, founded and co-led Regional Diversity, Inclusion, and Justice Community for 6 collaborative organizations, which included educational opportunities, anti-racist training, history of redlining tour and guest speakers, and facilitated conversations with actionable goals. Okay, that was a mouthful. That's a huge block there. All right, let me go. This is a good sentence, except for it's just way too long and it contains so much information, which may or may not be valuable. And since you don't necessarily have an objective statement of some sort or executive statement up here, I'm not exactly sure how this. Sorry, this is like highlighting weird, but we go this way. I'm not sure how this. I have no idea what's going on with the highlighting. All right, the first bullet point is what I'm trying to highlight. I'm not sure how that goes into what you want to have or what goal you're going for. So I'm wondering if immediate change we need to do is put on an objective or executive summary. Most likely for you, an objective statement would make sense. If anybody says, no, you need an executive summary, objective statements have gone the way of the dodo. They're talking to executives, not people lower than executives. A lot of recruiters out there, not hirers, but people that are giving advice about resume, especially a lot of resume writers, really don't understand that there's levels of a resume system out there. There's levels, and certain things on a resume work for certain levels, and then they keep on giving advice to everyone saying don't do this, yes, do this. Well, that confuses people because they're not at that level that somebody's saying, hey, you need to do this thing now. They're talking to the executives, but the problem is we all see all of that stuff and we assume it's for us, and it isn't. But that's because they have not done a very good job of saying, hey, this is for the executives, stop doing this thing on your resume. All right. Anyway, all right, so this right here is just really an overwhelming block of information, which doesn't necessarily do you much favors. I think the first part, probably not minding this bottom part, this highlighting here, just this first up to the end of the word organizations here might be good enough. And then you may go into a different bullet point, but you've got so many bullet points here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and skip this one because I'm not sure how to tackle this because it is just a mouthful. Formed and directed internal culture committee that focuses on increasing staff retention and DEI efforts by surveying staff, analyzing data, and presenting findings to directors. I also planned annual staff retreats DEI and helped our executive directors research benefit options for staff. This sentence right here, totally fine. Again, this is a mouthful. First sentence of this bullet point is a mouthful here. It actually makes sense. It's just a lot of like direct core info, which is usually good. I just don't know what this is going for. I'm going to pause this video real quick, go back to our Reddit post, read up on that, and see if that helps determine any additional information that might be helpful. Okay, that is definitely helpful here. All right. I think I already can see some things going wrong, but you're on the right track. You're not that far off from what you said that you want versus what your resume is right now. You're not off track. You've got the keywords. That's definitely it. One of the first things is people don't know exactly what you want. I think you do need an objective statement saying looking for a position in DEI and inclusion spaces. That's one thing. The second thing I think you might need to realize is that is a very limited space. You may have too much limited yourself, but I don't know enough about that industry, like that specific niche in that industry, to speak very clearly. However, I do have some experience with another person whose resume I looked at about a year ago, maybe 2 now, and he was going for the same thing, the DEI. And he had a hell of a time finding a position. I think you may have the position that you're trying to go for is a really limited position. That's not going to help you very much. So that first thing is, more clarity on the type of position that you're looking for, straight up, very clear, looking for a position in DEI would probably be helpful. And then realizing that you've super niched, that's a super niche area. It's going to be a little harder. And then the third thing is this is just quite a mouthful. However, I kind of get why you've done this now. All right, I'm going to go down further. Manage 6 regional food access programs serving over 4,000 individuals that resulted in 40% increase in benefit redemption. Yeah. That one's fine. That one's totally fine. Perfect one. Directed program evaluations by creating and administrating surveys to clients and community partners to gain insights and increase program. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Collected, synthesized, and reported data collaborative finders. Yep. This right here, this is about the same as this a little bit. I'm wondering if this can be removed and then just kind of worked into one of these just to take out a couple of bullet points, because you've got a little too many. With this type of job, I totally expect to see more than 6 bullet points, because 6 is usually about the max. However, for this type of job, I'm fine with having more than 6, as long as all 6 are, or 6 or more, as long as each one of those bullet points is a very definitive, different set of skills that you're listing. This one doesn't feel like it's strong enough to really stand on its own and could probably just be worked into one of these or not mentioned at all, considering it's literally already in here. Reported data, creating administrative surveys to clients and community partners, and report to funders. So you've already got reported on there. So I don't know if you necessarily need this entire thing. Collected, synthesized, you're saying the same thing, creating and administrating, collected, synthesized. Can you see how it's just kind of doubled? All right. Compiled and kept current with new research findings to inform program development and policy efforts. Sure, not necessarily the strongest of skills, might be able to be worked into something else, but it's fine in general. Assisted and led grant writing and reporting duties. Totally fine. That totally stands on its own. You have the word now reporting into it twice in here, and if you take this one out, then you'll have this and this, and you don't have to mention reporting anywhere else on your resume. Say nothing more than twice. You preferably only saying it once, but definitely no more than twice. Presented at the sustainable art. For COVID-19 and the women's issues for young women leaders in the city. Fine, love it. That's a really strong one. Served and provided expertise on SNAP-related policies and programming for both county food policy. Oh, yep. Oh, that's a nice strong one. Those almost need to be way higher. These two almost need to be a little bit higher up in here. It's fine where you have them, and I'm being pedantic when I say that those need to be higher up. They're just really strong skills, and you want to lead with your strongest foot forward. Is this what's stopping you from getting jobs? No. No. It's me being really nitpicky for you to help in some way, shape, or form. If I can be nitpicky enough and it helps you get a job, then it's worth it. Right? All right. Manage programming financials and prepare reports. Again, with the reports. That word report, even in different context, you're fine. Just manage programming financials for the board of directors. You've already got reports enough in here. All right. Trained and led farming market volunteers to successfully administer food access programming with in-person and virtual training presentations I created. Yeah. Yeah, you can take out the words I created because that's kind of obvious, but in general, I'm fine. Directed for food access associate, social work, and dietetic interns. Yep. Wonderful. Very, very nice and clear. Basically, these first two are really carb loaded, you know, and I think we need to just cut some of that fat out of those, cut some of the carbs out from them. It's a little too much punch in one bowl. I'm using all the food metaphors. So I'm wondering, now having read it, now knowing that the rest of it is fine and your entire goal here, I would almost say, all right, keep it up to educational opportunities and facilitated conversations with actionable goals. I might let you lead that. There's a lot of meat here. It's just too much meat in one mouthful. So meat being like the core skills and stuff. I do use food metaphors when I refer to resumes. Meat, fat, sugar, and garnish. You've got so much meat, you're almost like stuffing it down throats, which is actually a good thing. But we just need to take out, just make it a little less wordy. I'm totally fine. I think you should just basically cut this middle stuff. They can ask about it in detail later. You don't need to have it up front. Yeah. I think that'll probably be the best for that sentence, to cut it down enough. If you want to cut it down slightly more, just take out that little part. It's not, I'm being really nitpicky. It's generally good meat. It's just a long sentence. I formed a direct internal cultural committee that focuses on increasing staff retention and DI by serving staff, analyzing data, and presenting findings to directors. See, you already got this already like twice down here. Even though I like to see it up here, it's literally just too much, again, too much meat in one mouthful. So let's just take this part out. And then we're also going to make this its own bullet point. Yeah. Take out the I also, and just put, bullet point here. Planned annual staff retreats, DI workshops, and helped our executive director research benefit options. Take out the words for staff. I think that'll be a lot better. Yeah, we're taking out a couple bullet points, adding one more in. It's still a lot of bullet points, but I get it for this job. It's a lot of stuff. I think you'll be fine. Okay, anything that has a sub bullet point below it, I never agree with those, but it might make sense for you. Let's see. Local nonprofit graduate intern created extensive data analyst project using Excel and Power BI to contribute to the growing body of research. See, that this is already too wordy. On the economic impact of food access programs on local farmers and growers. All right, we're going to take out all of this part. Created extensive data analyst project using Excel and Power BI on the economic input of food access programs on local farmers and growers, or for local farmers or growers, whichever one actually works there. You don't need this. This part right here, you just said that. You just created an extensive data analyst project. You don't need to say research, published, and presented. You're saying the same thing twice there. Take that out. All right, my name, my last name, first name, economic impact. All right, all right. So this sub bullet point is what you would have as your paper. If you've got only this one, then I'm probably fine with you leaving it here. If not, then we would need to probably put it down here under education, where it might make more sense. Or under education, I mean like literally under papers written or research projects, blah blah blah, and then you put it there. If you have more than one. If not, there's just this one bullet point just kind of seems weird. Again, I am being very particular, possibly to a fault here with your resume, considering your struggles. I don't think this is in any way messing with your resume. It just looks weird to me, and anything that looks weird to me, I'm going to point it out for you. So my entire thing is what's a recruiter going to think? What's a recruiter thinking when they see your resume? And if they think of something and they're like, ooh, that's weird, I don't want that to come up in a recruiter's head, because then it raises a little teensy red flag or throws off a recruiter. And those little throws off a recruiter sort of things are what you don't want to have in your resume. That is the only reason I'm bringing it up, as it looks slightly weird, but I totally get why you put it in there, and it probably makes sense. I don't think it's going to throw it off enough for you to put it somewhere else. Unless you've got more than one, then definitely. All right. Research and compile data on local government policies, codes, and ordinances through the city. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. I don't care that it was through the city metropolitan area. I don't care. Take that out. Decrease the wordiness slightly. Just that part. To help increase awareness and advocate for local farmers and growers. Sure, you can even take out the words and growers there, because that doesn't matter. Assisted in the creation of policy and advocacy efforts for M-Food Policy Councils. Totally fine. Usually I don't like the word assisted, but for your job at intern, it makes absolute sense. In other videos you might see of mine, I would say assisted is not a good word. For you, totally makes sense. Yep. All right, county government nonprofit. So you did another internship there. All right, compassionately provided case management for clients to complete home repair assessments and link them with other social services in the county. Assisted with the review and awarding of small grants. Neighborhood. Ooh. Created copy for monthly newsletters, community resource guides, assessment forms. Yep, fine. Oh, okay. 2017. Okay. We're gonna do a test. I think I know why you're having trouble. This starting right here all the way down to here. All of this. This is not wanting to highlight efficiently for me, but all of that is probably what's giving you problems, I think. I'm going to do a test. I want you to take all of these out, or leave one in. Just one. You can leave National Retail Store in, or bank, or a top office, whichever makes sense. Probably retail store is totally fine. It matches more with the nonprofit working with people thing. Even though all of them are very people focused, these two don't match really whatsoever. This one matches the teensy bit. Then from here you're good. What I think this is doing is bringing you down in age, and people are thinking you're too young for the job that you want to go for. I think this right here just threw off my brain and made a big red flag raise of this is this is a 22-year-old. They're not ready to lead a massive project yet. They're not ready to leave a national organization, which from your resume, it sounds like you are. These two, specifically these two jobs, but even this third one here is bringing you down in age. But I'm totally fine with, let's do a test. One in which you have a resume that it just takes everything I've said, implements everything I've said so far, and then you keep this job in, and you take out these two jobs, and you send that one out. And then you're going to make another resume, and you're going to send that, you apply for the next two jobs or whatever you want. And one of them you send out this resume, and one of them you send out this resume, and see what happens. So the second resume is you take out all three jobs. Boom. All three of these need to go. See what happens. You might get replies from both of them. You might get replies from just one of them, and whichever one you get a reply from is probably the right resume to send out. Yeah. Okay. For the resume, you're going to have this job in diligently. Take out the word diligently. That's an overused buzzword that doesn't mean anything and adds nothing to your resume and makes you look younger than you are. Perform frontline duties, including customer transactions, answering phones, and stocking supplies. Yep. Collaborate with guests to help prepare them for a wide variety of outdoor activities and ensure that we be properly dressed. Special attention. Yeah, that's fine. Shares history as a co-op and member benefits with guests. Yeah. All right. Yeah. For some reason, the tense is off here. Performs, collaborates, shares. You have this in present tense, but this one is past tense. Fix your tenses. This is a pedantic thing, me being a past English teacher. You have past tense, past tense, past tense, past tense, and then suddenly present tense. The only thing that you should have as present tense is the job you're currently still working at, and everything should be past. Or you can have everything be past tense even if you're still working there. That's your only two options. Current and past, or all past. So, yeah. Yeah. These just need to go. I'm not even going to bother removing them. They don't need to be here, and they're probably what's really causing a lot of your problems. Those are fine. Those are absolutely fine. Of course, have your dates. You still need to have your dates there of when you graduated, especially for your Master's of Social Work. But if you have it one place, you have it in another place. Yeah, the dates of when you were educated are at least the year. Then you're fine. The year that you graduated. Yeah, I think that... All right. Now we're going to go back up to here. Key competencies, you've got the 2-word keys list. I think these are very clearly laid out already in this part right here. So I don't think you need your key competencies at the top. I would probably rather see the objective statement instead of this, or since you're removing those two jobs at the bottom, you'll have plenty of room to add that objective statement either above or below, probably above the key competencies. So they're looking for blah, blah, a position in DEI and blah, blah, blah. That needs to be probably at the very top, and then the rest. You could probably keep your key competencies, but you don't necessarily need it because they're all really clear in here. Okay, I think that wraps up what needs changing and what might be going wrong for you. And it's such a small change, isn't it? I mean, little pedantics of sentences aside, I do believe that these 2 or 3 jobs here are probably what's causing you to not hear anything back. You're making yourself look young. You don't have to put your entire work history on your resume. You keep it to the jobs that matter the most for the job that you're going for. And yeah, you can kind of mention that you had a retail store start. That's totally fine, especially since it was only 2017. It would make sense with the education levels probably at that point. So I think you're going to be good doing that. Okay. Let me know what happens. I am all interested in seeing what you do on your tests, like, testing this out, taking out 2 jobs as opposed to 3 and seeing what happens. Let me know how many more responses you get, if any. And if you still get nothing after this, then most likely the problem is pretty clearly you're too niched and there's not a lot of jobs open in that area. You say you've applied for like 1,000 jobs or whatever. So I'm inclined to disagree with that idea. However, that could still be a factor. Because as I said, I had a person that was in the same industry and they struggled to find something. They did find something. Last I knew, they were looking for a new job since finding a job because maybe the job is going away, the company's restructuring or something. But I do remember that he got a job, but it just took a while. All right, let me know what happens. I hope this helps. As far as helping you further, I'm not sure I can. Actually, I think it's just, those issues are this issue is really what's holding you back. But otherwise, you've got your very clear skills. I understand what you're kind of going with it. Makes sense to me. All right, let me know what happens. See you later.